Hey everybody, welcome to What the Flick. It is with some regret and simultaneous excitement we bring you a discussion of the final episode of season 1, the season finale. Sorry. The Prodigal Son Returns, the name of the episode. John Iadarola, Alonso Duralde, Ben Mankiewicz, and whatever, just the supervising producer of the show, Kath Lingenfelter.
Welcome.
Kath, thank you for being here. We don't really have any questions for you. The show was so self-explanatory.
Next season,
Yeah.
It's all right
mystery.
there.
Yeah, okay.
Yeah.
So really, it'll just be us three talking, and if you want to... No, okay, so we have a trailer, I guess, of the episode first. You've seen it, always fun to look at a trailer. After you've seen an episode, here it is, we'll come back, we'll talk.
That night, 3 years ago, we looked at ourselves in the mirror, and none of us wondered why we were still here. We knew.
She knew if she did this, it'd hurt you.
You can't help them.
Yes, I can. I know I can because I'm supposed to.
I think I may be a fraud.
You're a good man.
I most definitely am not.
I want to watch it again.
Do we have a name for Wayne Baby? Like, I want to call it Lil Huggy, but that could maybe something else.
I mean, now you bring it up. Now I want to ask
Huggies.
a question about the Wayne Baby. Okay, so this is a show filled with bad mothers.
And great fathers.
Yeah.
It's weird how that works out. They're just the best.
Spectacular.
But I think they're better. I have a debate with my wife. But I mean, like Amy Brenneman has. You want to like her because she's Amy Brenneman. We know we're programmed to like her.
She tests well.
But she abandoned her child at a moment of great need for that child. Any abandonment is bad. And then we end with Christine, who we didn't know terribly well, and who was at least young and foolish and terrified. But Christine appears to have also abandoned her child. But who knows what Christine is up to, or whether we'll ever see her again.
Well, to be fair to Lori, a child abandoned her first.
There's no fairness. Like, there's no fairness. You can't abandon your child. You can't, and she did, and she left, and it's work. I mean, she didn't abandon her child because she went to prison. It was a choice abandonment.
Well, yes, great.
And I think so. Speaking though, interestingly, so the show ends. Your lovely show ends with finding
the season ends.
The season. Oh, we're always talking about the season. So the season ends with Carrie Coon finding this new baby as it began with the baby's disappearance, right? So I liked that. That was nice closure that I picked up on. I frequently miss stuff,
It's
but
true.
I picked up on that one.
That you like.
Well, I like everything. I get frustrated, but
So now here's what I'm wondering though about that moment. Do we think then that Chris Zilka, Tommy, was going to leave the baby there and leave town, but then only because he sees Lori that he stops the car and gets out?
I think he was.
Because there's a baby sitting on a
Yeah.
patio that no one is like tending to.
In a town known for its rampaging packs of dogs and deer. So it's going to be antler decorations if
It
you don't
seemed to
save
me
it.
like, just kind of leaving it on Dad's porch and like gonna skedaddle, but then, oh wait, no, it's Mom.
I never
stepmom.
took him as leaving town. I just, leaving the baby there. We're supposed to have this conversation. Like, why did he leave the baby there? You guys anticipated that?
Well, it is the ending of the book, and we knew from the beginning that we liked the symmetry. We liked how that sort of completed the first chapter for the series, and that so we always knew that baby was going to be on the doorstep, that Nora was going to find it, that and that was going to be sort of the next step in the Garvey family story. But in terms of why and what happens and was the intention to leave it for the dogs, you can discuss that amongst yourselves and I'll listen.
It's interesting that you thought that Tommy had maybe left. I couldn't. I had trouble, and John and I spoke about it earlier. We had trouble figuring out what the sequence of events was that had that baby there, and we don't know, of course, yet, and may, who knows where season 2 picks up, but is Jill home? Are Jill and Lori already home? Are Jill and Tommy home at that point?
Well, Jill walked up with
I'm sorry,
Kevin,
are
you're talking about
Tommy
the mother.
and Lori
Yeah, right.
home yet?
Well, yeah, I mean, look, I know you're not going to tell us anything here, so we're going to ask you the mechanical stuff later. But
Okay.
my assumption from this was that the last wish granted by Huggy Wayne was Kevin asking to have his family back together.
There's no, that is indisputable.
Okay,
I believe
great,
that to
all
be
right.
indisputable.
Yes,
We don't
okay.
even need you to comment on that. That is a guarantee.
I think he specifically wanted the dog to love him.
It was the dog. That's all
Yeah,
he
maybe the
wanted.
dog came up and he was like, it fucking worked.
Because, so we've been sort of speculating throughout the first season, what is Holy Wayne? You know, is he a charlatan? Is he something supernatural? And if so, what are sort of the parameters of his power? If that is the case, that Kevin had wished that his family gets reunited, and this is what it took to reunite it, he seems almost like the classical conception of a genie, that you wish for these things, but you should have been more specific in how you phrased it, because terrible things can come about as a result of your wish. But then if we were to look back at other people that he's helped out, have we seen a similar sort of set of consequences, like to Nora, to Christine perhaps? I mean, he hugged a lot of people at that ranch.
Well, you know, look, Nora obviously after the hug thought she was good to go and getting the new groceries and stuff. And then when the remnants leave the real dolls in her house, it's like back to square one. You know.
But I disagree. Yes, because she's not back to square one. She's in fact far beyond square one because she's making a super grown-up decision.
Well,
like,
true.
You
You're
know
right.
what?
You're right.
I'm okay. I mean, or I'm never going to be
Or
okay.
I know that I'm not okay.
And
you know.
I am not okay, but I'm gonna go somewhere. I know I can't stay in this house, which was arguably a crazy decision
Sure.
in the first place.
I'm not going to hire any more prostitutes to shoot me in the chest.
Right, she, at least in this town.
Right.
Yeah.
Right.
Everybody needs a hobby.
Find a
But
new
she,
set. Though.
but she wrote a incredibly mature note to Kevin, and so she is better. She couldn't foresee that even a better person getting dealt the real dolls as they wake up in the morning is going to be stunned by that development. So I don't think there's any debate. He's not first of all, from a TV producing point of view, he couldn't be a charlatan because he didn't behave like a charlatan. Like a charlatan, we have signals that are sent to us. The suit is too nice. The car is too nice. This guy was sleeping in a wife beater, in a sleeping bag, in a burned out hull of a gas station or wherever the hell it was.
Assembling a harem of young women to impregnate, that's kind of
Yeah, I
classical
mean, he starts
cultish
out on
behavior,
like the
too.
ranch thing, and
I
he's
get
getting
it.
$1,000 a hug or whatever. I mean, we
I know, but where's that? I mean, that money is not going
I don't know.
anywhere.
I don't know. I don't know if
Where
Tom
is
Noonan
that
took
money?
it or
Where is that money?
Yeah.
That's a fair. It's a.
Well, and of course, what happened to him? I mean, that's another mystery. That the fact that the cops rushed in implies that perhaps this is another instance of them trying to clean out cult leaders and things like that.
Well, yeah,
we don't have
Somebody
a ton
else-
of evidence.
We don't know who shot him.
Exactly.
Right.
Well, there's those things on the radio about, because he's the guy they're talking about on the radio, right? Like Gilchrist, is that him? Is Wayne
Yes.
Gilchrist? Okay.
Yes.
So yeah, so
Right,
as soon
right.
as he gets in the car, there's a thing about there's the shootout with Atfek or whatever. So I mean, it's been implied that
Okay, so
there
they
was-
shot him, and
they
he
did, and he staggered into the bathroom.
Staggered into a
and-
bathroom where they
Yeah.
went. Okay, so that which completely makes
Okay, now here's the- here's the-
sorry, real quick.
Oh, sorry.
I don't mean to suggest that he's all pure,
Right.
but I mean he does something. There is something authentic in what he does, even if it's the immediate feeling. Even if you go back to the car salesman from Friday Night Lights, the senator who he hugged
Sure, yeah.
in the beginning.
Even if it's a placebo effect, you know.
Yeah, but I think it's
You don't
something
think it
more
is?
because we also know that there is lurking out there. Some people are authentic. Look, there's Scott Glenn something's happening with Scott Glenn.
Yeah,
He's not
there's
just a crazy
the
person.
people in the car who
Right.
who,
There is
you know,
something
before the
Somebody has something real.
Yes.
I believe that Huggy is one of them.
Really fast, as I'm looking at her face as you're reacting, I feel like up until now, so we recap Game of Thrones, and I'm the one who's read it amongst all the people who haven't. So the whole time I'm like looking at them speculate. I know you know things. It's frustrating now to be on the other side.
She's holding the cards.
What I see Kath is looking at me thinking, this guy has got it. Like,
Yeah, you guys thought that with me too, though. So
No, what I want to ask you, because this is in the area that I can ask you. Y'all did not go into season 1 knowing that season 2 was a guaranteed thing.
No.
That luckily came about. We're thrilled that there is going to be a season 2. So was it always the design? I mean, in addition to sort of hewing to the book and having the same kind of ending as the book, was the thought there, just in case this is all we get, we have to provide some level of closure, even if it's not the 100% closure that people might want?
Again, we we knew when we started, Damon came in and we knew 3 things. One, the baby on the doorstep. Nora's going to find the baby on the doorstep. 2, episode 9 was the day of the departure. We knew that from the beginning. And 3, the cul-de-sac burns at the end. And we also knew that, although there were serialized elements, that we were not going to create cliffhangers intentionally. Like, that was not by design. Each episode was not going to end with a cliffhanger. That was not the kind of show that we were making. And also, we wanted to give the first season, whether it was the only season or just the first season of many, we wanted a sense of completeness. We wanted to feel like you had gone on a journey and that the story of the first season was completed, and that this was not a show where it ends on a massive cliffhanger, season 1, and I can't wait to see, everything's set up for season 2 and I can't wait. That's just not the style of storytelling that we were
There wasn't a second departure or anything like that, like I early predicted, and it turns out everybody online thinks that was a bad idea anyway.
Well, and I missed...
Except for perhaps Christina, who we didn't see leave.
Right, who knows?
You never know.
I missed getting to be here for the discussion of episode 9, and I totally disagree with you guys about how you wanted that episode to happen earlier. I think that was exactly the right place to put it. Because
I don't, not just because you're here. I didn't mean necessarily that I wanted it to happen earlier. I wanted it in every episode.
Sure.
But literally wanted it as a viewer, like, please tell me, please tell me, please tell me, please tell me, please tell me. But I would get...
I believed that it was coming. I trusted that it was coming. And I think that putting it as the penultimate episode makes the scab that gets yanked in the final episode by the GRs that fresher,
Exactly.
Yeah.
That's what we were trying to do. And in terms of the flashbacks every episode, that's something Damon had already tried. He had already done that with Lost, and one of the many things that Damon does is to challenge himself and to always be trying new forms and new challenges with his storytelling. And so he resisted the urge to do the early flashbacks and to do it each episode. And the choice to put it as the 9th episode, which I thought was incredibly bold and brave, and asked a lot from the audience, asked a lot of patience and trust from the audience, was exactly that. That in 8, we've set up the finale for you could feel the fuse had been lit, and that something terrible was going to happen. And then we wanted to remind you that these people once upon a time were just like us, were human beings pre-departure, and now look at how far they've come, look at how much has been destroyed and damaged in their lives and in themselves. So it was all, deliberately to maximize our fucking with your emotions.
Sorry, one thing that I've been telling people who've dropped out of the show is, did you make it to the New York episode?
Yeah.
Because I think that's the one where even people who were getting restless and wanting answers and getting found it too dour or whatever, like that's the episode where you can feel this kind of like, there's that first breath of, okay, there's a larger world out there. There's going to be some humor to this. There's going to be, these characters are going to have a lot more than we originally thought. Was that also part of the design, that episode fell in a place that was going to kind of give viewers a little burst of, no, keep going, it's worth it,
We knew that every 3rd episode we were going to do something different, that we were going to take bigger risks. And when we did 3, which I just think is fantastic. And
3 was New York?
There was the standalone with Jameson, with Matt Jameson.
Okay, yeah, that was great.
And so when we started talking about what is 6, knowing that it was going to be another standalone point of view episode, who was that going to be? And the person that we talked about the most was Nora, but the idea of doing a standalone episode for Nora, that first day, we're like, what is that? Where do we even begin with that? How do we tell a story about Nora? And the idea of like, well, let's, she works for the Department of Sudden Departure. Let's do the episode, since we've been avoiding talking about the departure directly for 5 episodes. Let's just do a full episode where we talk about nothing but the departure. When we started the season, Damon, in terms of describing the feeling that he wanted to craft in the show, was the departure. What happened is an anvil hanging over these characters' heads, and we're never going to show the anvil, but we are going to hear the rope creaking. And so 6 was as close as we were going to get to looking up at the anvil. So we didn't know we didn't know from the top that we were going to do Nora and that 6 was going to blow out the world. But as soon as we said Nora, all of that fell into place, and I think it's important to remind people that this happened
To everybody.
to everybody.
Could you have had episodes 7 through 10 with what happened to Nora if you hadn't done her in 6? Because that made as my favorite episode, and that made her my favorite character, which never wavered then at that point.
Oh, good.
So by far. But you couldn't have done all that, I guess, without
That
giving
groundwork.
us some story of her.
Well, we knew Nora was going to find that baby. We knew that she and Matt were both crucial players in the Garvey story, particularly where Kevin was involved. And what subsequently happened to Nora after 6, no, it wouldn't have happened if we hadn't done 6. We knew that we owed story with Nora because she was only in one scene each episode
Right.
leading up to, and so we were just baiting
I got you.
that
So-
appetite.
So let me go back to episode 9 then for a sec, because we had this debate. It was a stupid debate among stupid people.
That's the tagline for your show, I think.
So I was very much alone in thinking that because you didn't want to show the departure, right?
Oh, not this again.
I remember.
But but I can't ask her. What's the point?
Please, have at it.
Yeah, I
Their
wasn't here. Tell me.
consideration of showing the sonogram departure, because that to me would have given you guys an out of not really showing people vanishing, which would arguably be weird, right? And difficult to do and difficult to feel authentic. But seeing a video image vanish on a screen, was it always clear that you were never going to show it? We're just going to see Amy Brenneman's reaction, or was there thought that you'd actually see the baby leave?
That was
Please
never
answer this
going to
the right
happen.
way.
Yeah, I never thought that was going to happen.
That, we did
Would it
not.
have been a fade or a
It
dissolve?
would be silly.
Like static?
He gets a piece out before he lays out of existence.
You're
be
just
so
as wrong as
silly.
they are.
Well, to be fair, the impulse was we're not going to show it. We're not going to show it. Damon did not want to show it. It was scripted because you can make those choices in the room, but when you're in post and you go, God damn, I wish we had the picture of the baby because now it feels like we need the baby on the monitor.
So you did shoot it.
We did shoot it.
I'm going to take that as a win.
But
Well, the disappearance or just the blank monitor?
just the blank monitor.
Okay, yeah.
But that was an insurance policy. But
Right. You knew nobody thought you were going to. Nobody thought you
No,
were going to.
and that circuit was brilliant. I was watching, thinking, oh, that's kind of, oh God, I know what this is going to be.
Yeah,
You
yeah.
know,
That was
that
really
was
well.
actually I think I can tell this story. That was last minute.
No way.
There was a much more elaborate gimmick with the Van de Graaff generators. And because of the humidity in New York, production kept calling us and they're like, we can't make this happen. And we've cast people with super fine hair and it's not reading. And if we tried to do the vis effects, it just isn't working.
Oh, really?
And
Wow.
so it was. I did so much research on Science Fair Project. It was
See, but
misery.
it's funny because I'm teaching a class about this right now. It's the stuff that you have to make up at the last minute, or that the restrictions that are forced upon you that sometimes leads to the creative gold. You know.
Yeah, well, I think we all knew what the intention of that scene was, and what we wanted from it. And at that point, the team had worked together for 8 episodes, and we're just really in tune with each other and smart and fast. And Sackheim, who came in and was the director, when I said, okay, this is what it's going to be, and I sent him the page, he's like, okay, I got it. And he just, I mean, come on.
Wow.
How could it have been anything except that what it became?
So there was there. So you were going to have somebody with the sex. That was. That's of course the one that I wanted to see vanish. Like does he fall down? Does he? I mean,
You can hurt yourself that
right.
way.
These are very, I think, reasonable questions.
That was
So-
actually scripted in the pilot script. If you read the pilot script, it opens with one of the opening things is that affair, and in mid-thrust.
Really?
Yeah, you hear him go, "Oh my God!" Like the "Oh my God's" change.
Right.
But that didn't end up in the pilot that we saw.
Right. Now sorry, go ahead.
Really fast, I like the little symmetry that was thrown in. I didn't realize it until I saw the trailer again, but going back to the woman asking him, "Are you a good man?" and him saying no, the symmetry with the father.
Oh, right.
Obviously, that was taking place in his head, so it's a natural source of symmetry, but I do like that as he's trying mentally to distance himself from the legacy of his father and his father's mental troubles, when he imagines it, the dialogue between them is the same. Like it's that symmetry.
This is also our season finale recap. So let's kind of cover a little more of what happened, even if Kath is going to give us more Cheshire Cat.
Right. Well, that's your job. You're the summarator.
Okay. Let's see. Well, all right. So we have the is it a dream sequence with the dad and with horny Patty. I want more of that season 2. Yeah.
For a moment, I was thinking, did I fall asleep? Is this really happening? It was a pretty good dance.
Yeah,
she did a good job.
So look, anything to keep her on the show. After you've stabbed yourself in the neck, if you're still a character, I'm in. Obviously the stuff with the mannequins and the GRs was set up very well. I'd say going back at least as far back as the Nora in New York episode where where she
back
kissed.
Further.
That's true, yeah.
On the highway, all the bodies.
Right. Well, the highway and the fake ad.
There was a commercial.
The commercial.
3.
Yeah. That was which wasn't on HBO Go. I don't know if you know this. People who watched the show on HBO Go did not get the fake ad.
Oh, the real ad that they played, but it's on the TV in the background in episode 3.
Oh, okay. But whichever episode that had the one preceding the show wasn't
incredibly realistic ad. Like
They
the incredibly
did a good job,
well done ad.
right?
They did a really good
Nailed
job
it.
with the ad.
Yeah, we had so much fun building out the world.
Oh God,
so
I bet.
good.
Now, did I miss what were all those flags in the park? Was that just a memorial, or the ones that Lori walks by at the end when she's going to the statue?
I didn't notice.
All those big white flags.
It's where the statue is. It's a memorial.
Oh, it's just part of the. Okay, it's a permanent thing. Okay, cool. So obviously, everybody goes apeshit. And again, this kind of brings back the whole thing about the GRs. Are they? Is their design to martyr themselves by bugging the shit out of everybody? Mm-hmm. And it kind of makes you think, like, were all the martyrs this way? Like, were they just all so fucking annoying that people had to kill them throughout history, and that's what they contributed to society?
Nobody really liked Jesus.
Well, what's going to happen to them? I mean, we made them remember. I mean, and then if you're all beaten to death, then they'll remember, and then 2 years later they'll.
But here's the thing: we only know what happened in Mapleton. Like we don't know if this was a national thing, because we know the GRs are everywhere. We don't know if they pulled this MD. What was it? Memorial Day? Is that what that's for? Yeah. We don't know if they did that everywhere, or this was a local thing.
I mean, the Mapleton chapter has always been a strong GR chapter.
Absolutely.
But I don't know if the central GR office texting their man. I want to see a GR meeting, because that took some planning. It's not easy to do when you don't talk.
They got bulletin boards and stuff. Yeah, no, I can imagine a lot of handwritten faxes coming in.
What I liked about I thought that the last scene, of course, with everybody rampaging and like this nice small town going absolutely crazy is a great way to end it. But what I liked about it is we had this long gap after 8 at the end, and we were thinking this is so horrible for him that they're going to think that he killed this woman. And we're so focused on the Garveys sometimes that we forget about the context they live in. The horror is really not that he might get in trouble for killing her. The horror is that society probably wouldn't even care because it hates that group so much that look how willing they are to kill
them. The government is certainly perfectly happy to dispatch cult people without
nobody is coming after him hard on that investigation. I think he's in the clear.
That ad fake guy's like, oh, well, you're a cop? Why didn't you say so? Like, I'm sure he would have helped him dig the hole.
That's right. So we're not supposed to know how the baby got on the timing of when the baby got on the porch. Obviously, Tommy put the baby on the porch, but we're not supposed to know.
Right, but okay, here's the thing. We do know this for sure. Tommy had the baby in his car.
Yeah, right.
We see Tommy in his car without the baby. We see the baby in the house without Tommy, which means that at some point Tommy dumps the baby at the house.
We don't know for sure that the baby wasn't in the car when Tommy sees his mom.
He's not back at the house when Nora arrives.
Can you say anything? Is this
Are we making this more complicated
Are
than
we
it
making it
is,
more
or is
complicated
this,
than it
or is
needs to
this
be?
like?
I think you might be overcomplicating it.
Yeah, that's the thing. He ostensibly, if we're to believe this is sort of parallel editing, he and Lori are at the shore, and baby is at the house, abandoned. You know.
Yeah.
Right, which means what? He just randomly ran into his mom at the shore?
This is
This might be where they went together?
My scenario is he is alone with the baby because Christine ran off. He can't handle it by himself, but figures that his father can. Leaves the baby on the porch, is in mid skedaddle of getting out of Mapleton, sees Lori and stops the car and gets out.
Or maybe goes to the place where he and Lori used to go. And,
Sure,
you know, and
possibly.
look at that, they're both there.
In any event, baby has been dumped at this point. That's what
This
I'm
has got to
saying.
be. I would love to be in your position right now. Like this-
No, it's our own fault.
This is like being a dungeon master.
Yeah.
Will next season, and we also, I mean, this is a question there's impossible for you to answer. Well, it's quite possible for you to answer,
But
but you
please
won't.
ask.
So Nora writes this incredible letter and makes this incredibly reasoned choice, and then is like, nope, here's your second chance right here. Although it's on someone else's porch. So Kevin wanted his family back together. I don't think Wayne's Huggy Bear's a charlatan, right? I think he's going to get it. I think that I think Tommy and Lori are walking down the street too. Although, also, where's she going to go? She's got to go somewhere.
Oh, so you think it's gonna be like Wacky Misadventures where both Lori and
Yeah,
Nora move into the house?
They all co-parent. Yeah,
There we
yeah.
go.
They all
The Black Asian Messiah.
they all co-parent the Black Asian Messiah. It's a kind of different show, and it's a sitcom.
Yeah.
It opens,
Just the
opening
three
shot
of
is
us.
like,
Honeys,
coming
I'm
out of-
home.
Yeah.
And it's called Perfect Strangers.
Remember back
Perfect.
Yeah, Imperfect Strangers. Thank you.
much
thank you.
earlier in the season, remember the title of the episode, though, I think it was Jesus and the AC, so there is still that dark, possibility with the baby.
Dark. It's great, John. Way to go. Racist.
You know what I mean?
Do I?
But again, but not Wayne's only child. Let's not forget.
No, not Wayne's only child,
So
no.
who knows how many other like hot Asian chicks are out there giving
What
birth
happened
to?
her?
Are we? Can you tell us? You can't. I'm going to ask anyway. Is she staying? Does that mean Nora stays? You can't answer that question. That's a crazy question to even put you on the spot for.
I guess we'll have to see.
Right.
Is there? I can ask this. Is there anything? Because have either of y'all read the book? Because I have not.
No.
Okay. Is there anything left in
don't
the
read
book
books.
for you guys to dig into for season 2, or are you now in the undiscovered
your
country?
In terms of story, the book ends the same way that season 1 ended.
Okay.
And there's no other book, so you're on your own.
But
There
you've
is
got,
no
you've got
other
the
book.
author on staff, so he
Yes.
gets to then
Yes.
figure out what
does
comes
he
next.
know? Also, so we briefly mentioned that Christina disappeared. I also, anytime the fact that we didn't see some people makes me wonder what happened to them. And Jill's friend, we haven't seen in a while now at this point, right?
They are not speaking, and then Jill was not speaking to anyone because she
I know,
became a GR. So
it seems like she would make some kind of appearance if everything was fine and dandy.
well, look, the twins weren't in the last couple episodes either. I mean, it's I think there's a lot. We had to focus on the. I mean, who knows?
Jill didn't join the GR because she wanted to join the GR. She wanted to force her mother's hand, I think.
I think so, yeah.
And good for
And
her
I
for
loved
doing
how
it.
into it Liv Tyler was by the end.
Oh, totally.
Because
Yeah,
she was
she's
sort of wobbly, but now she's like
Pot committed.
hardcore.
Yeah, she is all in, yeah. What did we, in this conversation, which we have to wrap up, what have we missed? What have we not talked about that we should have talked about? Or that you're hoping that people were talking about?
I don't think anything. I mean, I think everybody's going to find something that they respond to. I think one of the things that we talked about the most when designing the show was when you are looking for meaning, you're going to see it everywhere. And does that mean that you are open to it, or are you manufacturing it? So the things that you choose to talk about on the show are the things that you're responding to, and what defines the show for you. So I don't think that, and I think that that's what we hoped for when putting the show together. So to say this is what you should be talking about does a disservice to the show and to
Is there
you.
anything that other people are talking about that maybe we literally missed because we're dumb?
Yeah, don't give me this young crap.
Like, what's your favorite part of the finale? How about that?
My favorite part of the finale is the ending, because for me, all season long, and how I see the show is reflective of my personal experience of the show, because of my personal experiences while making the show. So for me, it's very specific, and it's a message of hope. The show, the season, all season long is about people's persistence and willingness to move forward and survive in the face of tragedy. So.
You did do us one courtesy by telling us not to obsess on the logistics of who left the baby when, and we appreciate that. Yeah.
But that's not to
do it
say
anyway,
that
but,
you know, the timing of that, like that took up half of our day. Is like, how
Right.
does Tommy get there to leave the baby and thing, and who do we show first in this montage and all of that. We did the obsessing for you. So in this particular,
Wait, in terms of
just
obsessing,
this time.
the place they eat in this last episode, is that the place where they had the conversation with?
where
Where Patty takes
Yeah, is that the
Lori?
same place?
Is that the same restaurant?
Different.
Maybe you'll have to take a second look.
Okay.
Oh.
Yeah.
Do we know when season 2 shows up? About a year? Have they put it on the schedule yet or no?
We will have to see.
And is it going to be 10
already
again, or
completed.
do we know?
It's way too early to talk about anything right
Gotcha.
now. But
But we are eagerly awaiting it.
Yeah.
Has television ever been better? Like, isn't this just such a great time to be working in TV?
this is an amazing time for television because people are expecting more, and television is rising to the occasion. And as the shows rise to the occasion, the audience meet, and it just continues, the quality continues to increase, and I'm amazed. And I love nothing better than obsessing about a show and getting involved in it, and just rewatching a show to death and getting so excited and racing home and watching live and all of that. So it's a pleasure to be excited about watching television again.
You're a trooper for coming on with us. Thank you.
Thank you for having me.
Thank you.
Kath Lingenfelter, ladies and gentlemen.
Thank you. Thanks for watching season 1 of our recaps of season 1 of The Leftovers. And you know what? You shouldn't just watch our recaps. You should go ahead and watch the show now.
Yes, all over again.
Yeah, feel comfortable watching the show.
Most of it, but there's some good stuff.
Yeah, they did some stuff better than our conversation.